What's anything to report about anything, roster, anything?
No, and obviously I'm sure you're implying the gambling situation, but obviously it continues to be an ongoing investigation, and nothing that we can really comment about, and something we'll deal with as we kind of continue to learn about it and people continue to give us the information.
How do you prepare for a season with that hanging over the program's head?
Well, it's so minimalistic in terms of numbers that we're all being educated on it. You take it as a learning opportunity with the young men on your team, and you grow forward. So to me, it really hasn't hindered us or really hasn't paused us in any way, shape, or form as we continue to build this team.
When you start practice in a couple of weeks, though, the guys that you do know are caught up in it. Do they get reps like they normally would? Do you have to adjust there? Or how do you approach that?
Well, hopefully you get a little bit more clarity as we get a little bit closer. But I think you take the information that you have by the time you get to that point of the season, and then you continue to put the team in the best situation to move itself forward, for sure.
What does clarity look like?
Well, I think understanding, number one, who exactly is involved, to what extent is their involvement, and then what are the repercussions of that involvement, and I think those are all things that, still we don't really know the whole picture of that, and, as we continue to get the clarity of that, and you appreciate the thorough due diligence of everybody that's involved in this right now, so you want to go by facts, not fiction.
Is everybody practicing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody,
Well, we don't have practice yet, but everybody's training right now.
Yeah, everybody's training.
It's a new timeline, but have you gotten an idea of once you guys get the information or they wrap up, what time it'll take for you to get your ducks in a row to get the NCAA information in here?
Yeah,
that's always tough.
Yeah, that's kind of tough to know. Again, those are all things that probably are better questions, administratively, but and university-wise. But man, their communication with me has been excellent. I think they understand the urgency of the season getting here, and again, I don't look at this as anything that's so monumental that we can't handle it. We've been able to handle it every step of the way so far, so it's been positive that way.
Not to belabor the point, guys you don't know about?
I don't think so. Okay. But, again, I think, you continue down this road of, it's just such a unique situation, and obviously we're learning by the day. But, I feel like at least from that aspect of it, we have probably the best clarity at this point that we've had so far.
Are you prepared to either start players that are under investigation, or are you prepared to not play them? How's that going to play out?
Team. I think no matter what we're doing, we're not going to jeopardize our team. And the most important thing that we can have, and what we've always stood for, is team. And so, what we'll do is what's in the best interest of the team, and that's really how we've handled it. And part of the team is, like I said, part of our responsibility as educators is to use this as a learning opportunity and a growth opportunity. And then obviously when it's time to, have repercussions, team repercussions, we have to do what's best for the football team.
So does that mean, you talk about team, does that mean possibly, if you do play them, there could be forfeitures, down the road? Does that mean?
Well, that wouldn't be what's best for the team.
No, that's what I mean.
Right.
Exactly. That's where I was going. So yeah, that's a team. It means team. So you probably would not play these guys.
Team.
Exactly. Okay. Yes. That's where I was headed.
So Matt, with the guys that you kind of do know about, do you have talks with guys behind them and say hey, pushing them this is a big opportunity for you? How does that work within the program?
I think it's no different than an injury, Chris. I think that's where we're probably as healthy today as we've ever been in our program. And last year we probably dealt with more injuries and more guys having to play than we ever have in at least my tenure. And I would say the painful part of that was we looked like a young football team and acted like it. The positive is the experience and the depth that we were able to build from those experiences and take that into the off season, I think has really helped us greatly. And so I would say from top to bottom, we're deeper today than we've ever been. And so, whether it's competition going into fall camp, spring practice, summer, fall camp, or if it's, man, that, there's opportunities that are available. I think it's the most competitive off season we've had since I've been here. And so, I don't think this is a situation that I think every kid understands, man, right now in our program, probably from top to bottom, is there's such a great opportunity going into fall camp to earn playing time. And so I don't think any of this is any different than how you would deal with an injury or how you would deal with anything that kind of gets thrown at you in a college football season. I think we're probably as equipped and well to handle whatever situations come our way as we've ever been, just because of so many guys that had to play a year ago for us.
The announcement a couple of weeks ago about lessening gambling penalties, was that welcome news for you guys in terms of understanding where your guys might end up?
Yeah, I think there's still so much lack of clarity because you just don't know. But I think that college football and college athletics, this is we're living in a different world, right? And I think that the positive is that we're continuing, the NCAA is continuing to evolve in their understanding of the world that we're living in. And I think that there was recognition that this is a different time, this is a different world. These kids are experiencing different lifestyles than maybe what it was 5-10 years ago. That I think that's at least a positive for our young men and anybody going through this experience. I just think it's a unique time and it's a great learning experience for all of us. And again, when I say minimalistic, I think the positive thing I take is there's so few that are involved in this situation, across the board at Iowa State and really across the board in our football program, that the young men that are going through this, I think it's a great learning opportunity, and for all of us, myself included, it's a great educational opportunity to make sure we continue to have that positive result of so few involved.
Do you have a number you can give us?
I don't, and again, I think once we have absolute clarity, I'll be able to give you that number. I think the biggest thing I can say is it's such a very minimal amount in our football program right now.
How do you weigh it, Matt, so they made a mistake, they knew they're not supposed to do it, but it doesn't mean they're horrible humans either, and headlines can kind of misconstrue that. How have you, I guess we focus on other guys, how have you talked with the guys who did get into trouble about that?
Yeah, I think that's what I love about college athletics is you're dealing with 18 to 22-year-old kids, right? You're dealing, at least right now, looks like not maybe great legal ramifications. They made a minor mistake, and I think, again, it's a choice, and we all are defined by choices that we make. And my only ask of our young men is let's be completely transparent about what happened. Whatever choice decision you made, we'll learn from it and grow from it together. And that's part of college. It's part of 18 to 22-year-old growth process. And so to me, it's what I absolutely love about my job and responsibility is to be a great educator and be a great teacher and help young guys grow forward. And I would say that at least the response that I've seen from all the young men that at least so far have been in a situation where maybe they've been involved with this somehow, some way, how they've handled it, how the character and the honesty that they've gone about this process, I couldn't be any prouder of them, and it's part of the journey. So, but for me, it's teaching, and it's part of growing young men into men, and that's just part of the journey.
You were happy with where you guys were from a physical standpoint coming out of spring. How do you feel now as summer kind of closes up?
Yeah, like I said, we're as healthy across the board. You've got every kid in our football program that's training right now, and really has been since about mid-June. Some of those guys that were dinged up in spring practice, back full go, and so I think you guys probably were able to see a lot of the growth physically of what we look like, and to get an extra 8 to 10 weeks of real growth process in the weight room. I think it's been a huge advantage for our football team. So I'm really excited about what we've done. I'm excited about what we look like, and probably maybe as excited as I've ever been about getting to fall camp. And back to Chris's point about just the depth on this football team and the competition. We've been our best when there's elite competition across the board. And right now, who plays, who's going to step out there game one, and who's going to have the ability to help our football team win, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to have that opportunity for this team.
You talked about depth, competition within the team. Linebacker is a spot that comes to mind for me with some of the players you lost. Who are some of the younger guys that you've really been impressed with and that kind of stepped up there?
Well, I mean, you talk about Carson Willich, and fortunately, all 3 freshman linebackers last year had to play for us because of injury. Carson got some incredible opportunity a year ago. I thought he has had a phenomenal offseason. It's great to have a bell cow, obviously, in Gary, that's the leader of the bunch. I think Jack Sadowski's a name that, you talk about what he did this spring ball and the offseason that he's had this summer. I think he's a guy that's got a chance to be really special. Jacob Ellis was in the 2 deep last year to start the season, got hurt in the first game, and has had a phenomenal offseason. He's back, he's healthy. We were able to redshirt him a year ago. So, there's going to be great competition. Zach Lovett came in, really had a great spring for us, and thought has had a great summer. And Karsten Marshall, another guy that was in the 2 deep last year. We lost him 3 games into the season, and he's back fully healthy for the first time. So, there's a lot of competition there. There's a lot of guys. You talk about him and you talk about McLaughlin, but man, I would say those 6 guys right now, they've really shined this offseason for us.
The offensive line.
We got to get going. We got to
Okay.
go to our next thing.
I'll be
Sorry,
back, I
guys.
promise.
Okay.
You.